Part 9. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 81. Chapter 081. Kneel down and beg for mercy at the speed of light, leaving no one behind. Gudu. Swallowing hard, Lu Jinbei was horrified as he looked at the hundreds of bullets floating in the air. He had never expected that such a situation would occur. How is this going? Why do these bullets stop in mid-air? What is this horse-riding thing? Superpowers. How can this be? Doesn't a Euro trademark it mean that there are no such things? Not only Lu Jinbei, but everyone in the room was stunned. They looked at Lin Fan, who was at the center of the bullet, with a shocked face. The shock in their hearts could not be greater. What's this about riding a horse? What about the promised ordinary Doomsday? Why did it suddenly become a fantasy film? This is so unfair. Cao Jun's hands were shaking. He now understood why Lin Fan's expression was so relaxed from beginning to end. With such terrifying abilities, it was normal for people not to take them seriously. Why did they still want to threaten each other? I'm afraid the other party still pities their ignorance. But now he has no time to think about this. The other party has fought all the way from the first floor to the 9th floor, and listening to the other party's intention, it is obvious that he has no intention of letting them go. Now he just wants to escape from here. Escape from the opponent's clutches. He doesn't want to die. Lu Jinbei's mind was buzzing. He didn't expect that something he was sure of would be screwed up. This was not a little sheep invited in, but a real dragon that could swallow clouds and smoke. Standing up from the sofa, Lin Fan raised his hand, pointed his finger on the bullet, and gently moved it to the side. Lin Fan took time to look at the pale and lifeless Lu Jinbei in front of him, and asked with a smile, "Tell me, how should I kill you?" Deng. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Lin Fan bluntly said that he wanted to kill them. Everyone's heart sank. They didn't want to die. Especially after tasting the pleasure of power, they don't want to die even more. Plop. Without any hesitation, Lu Jinbei's knees weakened and he knelt down directly in front of Lin Fan. At this time, he didn't have the slightest bit of a heroic attitude, nor was he half as angry as before. Now he was just a pathetic man wagging his tail and begging for mercy. Grown-ups. Spare your life. I can do things for you, I just want you to spare my life. I really don't a Euro trademark want to die. What heroic posture, what anger, what dignity, it's all bullshit at this moment, only living is real. Lu Jinbei sees it very clearly. If you want to live, you have to be shameless. Dignity is something that can't be saved even if your life is gone. What dignity are you talking about? This is the end of the world. Did he do less of the disrespectful things before the end of the world? Why did he kill his drunken boss on the first day after the end of the world? That's because he knew that this was his chance to rise. But now, he must lose his dignity and wait for the day when Lin Fan is weak. Go Jian can survive for 3 years and return to the country, and Han Xian can endure the humiliation of his crotch. What does it mean to him? Plop. Plop. As Lu Jinbei knelt down, a large number of people knelt down in the box one after another, begging Lin Fan to save their lives. The 3 noble dogs next to them looked at everything in front of them, and a perverted pleasure arose in their hearts. Lu Jinbei and the others actually had today. Looking down at Lu Jinbei and others kneeling on the ground, Lin Fan sneered, "When you killed others, tortured others, and even domesticated these noble dogs, did you ever listen to their pleas?" Domestication? What is domestication? Words that you would only use when dealing with animals are used by you to refer to humans. If you don't regard your own kind as human beings, what qualifications do you have to live? Speaking of this, Lin Fan shook his head. Humans, you will have to pay back sooner or later if you go out to work, so you can go with peace of mind. Chain lightning. A bit of thunder and lightning burst out from the hair, and it instantly flowed to Lu Junbei. The lightning instantly dispersed and turned into a thunder net to connect everyone together. In the flash of thunder and lightning, Lu Junbei and others screamed miserably, rolling on the ground. The only three poodles that were not affected were close to each other in fear, their eyes closed tightly, and their delicate bodies could not stop shaking. The battery is not very large. With your vitality, you should be able to struggle for a while. Enjoy it. Direct electrocution? Stop it, Lin Fan is not that kind. Looking away from these scum, looking at the three noble dogs huddled together, Lin Fan admitted that he had a dark side in his heart, but compared with these people get up, he is still far behind. You can play or you can play. With a wave of his hand, the three of them floated up, followed Lin Fan and left the box. Outside, Lin Fan threw the three of them on the ground and looked at the confused three. Man, said, go pack your things and wait for me here. There are many supreme boxes on the 9th floor. Lin Fan can feel that there are people in the other boxes. They should be the women who did not move as Lu Junbei mentioned, as well as some women who were trapped by Lu Junbei and the thugs. Open the doors one by one and collect these. The women who had cowered in fear at the sound of gunshots were let out and told to pack their things and wait for him in the corridor outside. Lin Fan walked step by step towards the innermost box. He opened the door and walked in step by step. Soon there were several women came out of the room inside, each with a wary look on their face. When they found that the stranger Lin Fan came through the door, their eyes looked a little confused. Looking at the three women in front of them, even though they had seen Lin Fan too much, after seeing Yu Yu, Zhao Wanqing and Zhao Yanyan, all of whom were top-notch women in appearance, figure, and temperament, Lin Fan was still amazed when he saw these three women. Each of the three women had their own characteristics, with exquisite facial features and picturesque features. Bright eyes, white teeth, crystal clear skin, and a top-notch figure, and the clothes outline the curves. As a gift to win people's hearts, Lu Junbei is indeed very sincere, as long as it is fully functional. A man with no problem with his sexual orientation could never look away when he saw these three women. After a few cursory glances, Lin Fan withdrew his gaze and said calmly, pack your things, I'll wait for you outside. Seeing that Lin Fan was about to leave, Lu Yu couldn't help it and asked aloud, who are you, where are Lu Junbei and the others? What happened to the gunfire just now? After a pause, Lin Fan glanced at Lu Yu and said in a calm tone, Lu Junbei and the others are all dead. I am your future master. Once you understand, go and pack your things. When they heard that Lu Junbei was dead, Lu Yu and the other three looked happy, but after hearing the words that followed, their expressions changed drastically. How could you do this? It turns out that you are also a person like Lu Junbei. Do you men have nothing else but those thoughts? Turning around and looking at the three women with angry faces, Lin Fan walked to the window, opened it, then stepped back a few steps, pointed at the window and said, look outside, it's the end of the world now, you have nothing to do. The power of binding a chicken. If you don't a Euro trademark T want to die, there is only one way, or you can choose to commit suicide by jumping off the building. I will not stop you. Lu Junbei did not lock the windows, and you did not jump off the building. Obviously you do not have the courage to commit suicide. Why are you pretending to me now? If you think what I did is wrong, very good, jump down from here and die to make your ambition clear. I promise I want a Euro trademark T stop you. Dance, I'll watch you dance. Standing not far from the window, Lin Fan folded his arms and looked at the three angry girls with a playful expression. In Lin Fan's heart, beauty is not their unscrupulous asset. If they don't want to be enslaved, that's fine. Jump off and it will be over. You don't have to suffer in the Doomsday. If you don't dare, what are you talking about? Who can't shoot a cannon? What kind of noble thing is there? Do you really think it's before the end? Facing Lin Fan's cold shout, Lu Yuer-san people gritted their teeth, but no one walked over. It was indeed as Lin Fan said, they didn't dare to commit suicide by jumping off the building. If they dared, they would have jumped long ago. Looking at the three of them sarcastically, Lin Fan said sarcastically, weren't you very confident before? Why doesn't anyone dare to move now? Do you want me to help you? How happy is it to be settled? Why doesn't anyone dare to come? After enduring Lin Fan's humiliation, Lu Yuer and the other three lowered their heads, not knowing how to refute at all. If you have nothing to say, just pack your things and get out. Remember, get out. If you don't comply, I can help you and let you jump down voluntarily. This is just to remind you that this is the consequences for disobeying me. Lin Fan's voice was cold. For these arrogant women who have no idea how high the sky is, he will throw them to the 18th level of hell, throw their dignity to the ground, trample them hard, and humiliate them hard. The only way is to let them only when you know it hurts. And are you afraid? Can you understand who has the final say in this doomsday? And what role do they play in the doomsday? They turned around and walked away, leaving Lu Yuer and the other three feeling angry. I couldn't help but didn't know what to do. Just when the three girls were in a daze, Lin Fan's voice came from outside the door. You have 3 minutes. Once the 3 minutes are up, I can help you. Lu Yuer and the other three were shocked. What do you mean by helping? They didn't think it was to help them pack their things, but to help them jump off the building. The three of them believed that the man who was as cold as a devil could definitely do it. Quick! Go pack your things. Ran, then get out. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 82. Chapter 082. At this moment, Lin Fan is not a god, but is better than a god. Lin Fan's cold attitude frightened the three of Lu Yuer and the others. Under the young appearance, he has a heart as cold as a devil. He is not as easy to bully as he looks, and he is not at all warm-hearted. Lu Yuer and the three of them were almost frightened to death by his tenderness. Who would be a kind person who could kill Lu Jinbei alive? They had no doubt that Lin Fan could keep his word. 3 minutes is not a long time or a short time. Before, it took more than 3 minutes for them to put on eye makeup, but now, they don't a Euro trademark care about that much at all. They just stuff their clothes and cosmetics in their bags casually. 2 minutes have passed. With only 1 minute left, the three women hurriedly took the remaining things, and then without hesitation for a moment, they ran directly to the door. Looking at the door, the three women gritted their teeth, knelt down on the ground, and hugged. He shook his head and rolled out hard. This was what Lin Fan had told him. They saw how cold-hearted Lin Fan was and they didn't dare to take it as a joke. They only live once and they didn't want to die. Beauty is a woman's most lethal weapon, just like power and the allure of women to men. The more beautiful they are, the less they want to die. In the corridor, under Lin Fan's orders, the women who had been beaten out of servility did not dare to resist. They had already packed their things and were waiting outside. There were no less than 50 people in groups. There are rich ladies, noble young ladies, and a few third-tier starlets, including Li Yun's 3 noble dogs who have packed their things. Not only the 3 of them were wearing collars, almost all the women who came out of Lu Jinbeo's room were wearing collars, and not only that, many women were wearing collars around their necks. It seemed that the younger brothers were deliberately imitating Lu Jinbei, the boss. Maybe they were also like this. Hobbies. This is the end of the world. Women who are not protected by men and do not have a strong enough protective umbrella will end up like this. Without freedom, they themselves will be coveted. Being beautiful is not a good thing in many cases. The saddest thing is that if you are not beautiful, you are not even worth being coveted. Hearing the sound coming from the door of the innermost room, Lin Fan glanced at Lu Yuer and the 3 girls rolling out one by one. Lin Fan smiled disdainfully. If the 3 of them couldn't stand his insult, they would just jump down. He will respect it, at least this ambition is worthy of respect. It takes great courage to die calmly. Seeing the three girls rolling until they reached their feet, Lin Fan raised his foot and stepped on Lu Yuer's shoulder. Tut Tutang, what do you think you are trying to do? Isn't it interesting that you don't have to eat the toast and have to drink the wine as a penalty? I can give you nice words. You just don't appreciate it, or you mean? Biting their lips, Lu Yuer and the other two were looking at everyone, their faces burning. At this moment, they really had the idea of a euro jumping off the building to commit suicide. Withdrawing his legs, Lin Fan stopped humiliating the three of them. Bullying these women was meaningless and would not bring any sense of achievement. From today on, your status remains unchanged, but I will not torture and play with you like other men. You only need to work hard to get food, clothing, and a safe environment. Don't thank me too much, follow me now. Lin Fan's words made the women in the corridor look at each other. After experiencing boundless despair, they thought that someone else was just torturing them, but they didn't expect that Lin Fan's treatment here was so good. Now they can only hope. What Lin Fan said was true, otherwise they wouldn't have the slightest resistance. The only difference was that the three girls Li Yun saw how terrifying Lin Fan was, and they respected him like a god. They thought that since Lin Fan had said this, then he would be able to resist. 90% of the possibility is true. Is it necessary for the strong to deceive the weak? They have no ability to resist. Since Lin Fan said so, it must be true. Walking downstairs with dozens of women, along the way the densely packed corpses were stunned by the women following behind. The women were frightened. There were really too many corpses. When they walked down except them, they didn't see a single living person. These people were all killed. Did this man kill him? Or did he have companions? Lu Yuer and the other three are now scared to death. Lin Fan must have killed them all. How cold-blooded and terrifying must this man be to kill so many people without changing his expression? And there is no feeling of fatigue at all. On the 9th floor, even just going downstairs is a huge challenge for these women. All the way to the lobby on the 1st floor, the women are almost exhausted. But when they see the 1st floor, when I saw the situation in the hall, I was stunned. People. Women. Thickly packed. They were all women. The hall on the 1st floor of Zy Shenmengshi was already very big. It was hundreds of square meters, but in such a big place, they were all filled with people, women wearing clothes. Seeing these women, Lu Yuer, Li Yun, and others who followed Lin Fan down were stunned. What is going on? What does this man want to do? As a client, Lin Fan saw so many women. Fan couldn't come to his senses for a while. Although he saw dozens of women on each floor, he didn't feel anything. But when these women all gathered together, Lin Fan realized what the hell was going on. So many women? The shock is followed by deep joy. Ita Euro trademark s great to have more women. You don't a Euro trademark t need to be too loyal, as long as you dare to kill zombies. Then everything will be a tool to increase points. As long as there is no psychological problem, the belief value will be brainwashed sooner or later. Lin Fan is very relieved about this. Even if he chooses to be a maid without seeking advancement, Lin Fan does not feel that he is at a loss. Although most of these women are not clean, they at least look good. They are surrounded by their daughters every day. The country will make you feel very good. Seeing so many beautiful women farming, it feels even better. There are as many maids as there are, and they will not be left idle anyway. Now his power is developing from scratch, and everything is waiting to be done. There are never too many people. The shock quickly disappeared. Lin Fan walked towards the many women step by step. When they saw Lin Fan coming, the eyes of these women flashed with awe. They saw how fierce Lin Fan was. What a good guy. The humanoid tanks, adults were like whack-a-mole, smashing into the wall, hitting one child at a time. None of them could survive the first hit. Lin Fan rescued them, even though his status was still at the lowest level, but at least it was much better than being abused by those people. Walking through the road that was let out by the women, Lin Fan pushed open the door of drunken life and death. Looking at the door that was pushed open, a glimmer of hope flashed in the eyes of the women. Since the end of the world, the entire nightclub has been a huge cage, and now looking at the open door, they felt like seeing the light of day again. The women filed out, looking at the waste wall built in front of them, feeling a little afraid in their hearts. They know what is outside the wall: endless zombies. They could see all this through the windows, so they never thought of escaping. Now that they followed Lin Fan out, what should they do next? Lin Fan told them the truth, what he planned to do. With a grasp of the void in his hand, a huge gap was opened in the ruins wall on the spot. Driven by the terrifying magnetic field, the blasted iron wall flew all the way, like the head of a 200-mile truck, smashing countless zombies into pieces. The sky is full of flying corpses of zombies, rain of blood sprays, and fireworks composed of zombie corpses bloom in the sky. The women were stunned, looking at the scene in front of them. It felt like watching a science fiction blockbuster. Lu Yuer and the others were so frightened that their faces turned pale. What a guy! You told me you were so fierce. If you say you are so fierce, we will definitely not dare to look down upon you. What did you say? Why are you pretending to be an ordinary person? Aren't you bullying honest people? Unlike Lu Yuer and the other three, the three girls Li Yun, who knew that Lin Fan was very powerful, saw their eyes sparkle. Lin Fan's power was like poison. If they surrendered to Lu Jinbei and were forced to tame him, then they would be willing to have Lin Fan here. Climb over by yourself. If they hadn't been starved for 3 days and couldn't bear it any longer, they wouldn't have put on their own collars and grabbed that piece of chocolate. Compared with Lu Jinbei, Lin Fan was far ahead of him in terms of appearance, body, and ability. Hundreds of streets. Now is the end of the world. They have been hungry for 3 days and have figured out that as women, they can only be enslaved without support, and Lin Fan is the thickest tree. Thinking of this, the three women all touched the collars around their necks and had their own thoughts. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, magnetic field control experience add 1, current experience is 7991/10,000. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, magnetic field control experience add 1, current experience is 8251/10,000. Ding. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, magnetic field control experience add 1, current experience is 8846/10,000. The ruins wall flew hundreds of meters away, crushing countless zombies along the way, causing the experience of the magnetic field control ability to soar rapidly. Lin Fan had already decided to use the magnetic field control on the way back. The power was upgraded to level 7, and he gained experience in controlling lightning powers. Taking one step forward, Lin Fan looked at the shocked and stunned girls, and said, "Follow me, I will take you back to my territory." With that said, Lin Fan walked out of the ruins wall. Every step he took, lightning arcs spread out. The zombies that rushed up turned into charcoal and fell to the ground. Silver flying knives flew in the air, and the zombies turned into headless bodies. Corpses. As Lin Fan advanced, countless zombies fell down like wheat. In an instant, a vacuum zone with a radius of 100 meters appeared out of thin air. No zombie could take a step beyond the thunder. As long as he came close, even passively, he would be struck by lightning powers or killed by flying knives. Hundreds of women followed Lin Fan in shock. Looking at Lin Fan's back walking in front, they seemed to be looking at the gods walking on the ground. At this moment, the man in front of them was not a god. Better than a god. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 83. Chapter 083, Double Superpowers Advanced, and now the terrifying strength is following behind Lin Fan. At first, the women were a little scared. After all, there were too many zombies. Looking at the zombies covered in blood and with ferocious faces, these women said no in their hearts. The fear is false. But as Lin Fan moved forward, the zombies turned into corpses one after another. No matter how terrifying the zombies screamed, they never got closer than 100 meters. These women felt calm. The corpses on the ground were either headless or turned into cokes by electricity. The silver light and thunder and lightning intertwined. Lin Fan's back was like a mountain, blocking all dangers for them. Powerful. Too strong. In the past, they had only seen such powerful men in science fiction movies. Is this still a human being? This is simply the incarnation of God. They firmly believe that under Lin Fan's protection, they will be safer than ever before. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, magnetic field control experience add 1, current experience is 8995/10,000. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control experience add 1, current experience is 488/500. Ding. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, magnetic field control experience add 1, current experience is 9146/10,000. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, lightning control experience add 1, current experience is 500/500. Ding. Your lightning control ability has been upgraded. It is currently at level 5. The destructive power of lightning has been enhanced and the controllable distance has been expanded. The violent momentum soared into the sky, and the splashing thunder was as thick as a child's arm. The raging lightning was like a thunder dragon flying in the sky. The thunder dragon danced. Wherever it passed, zombies were vaporized by the terrifying high temperature, and there were no corpses. Stay. In Lin Fan's body, more violent thunder and lightning energy is strengthening every cell in his body. Every drop of blood makes the cells stronger and contains more energy, making every drop of blood purer. Rolling energy flows in the body. Crazy operation, with each turn, the lightning power becomes thicker. The physique is being strengthened, the energy is purer and of higher quality, and more lightning energy is stored. This transformation process lasts for only 1 minute. ETA Euro trademark S worth stopping, but this is not the end. Ding. Killing zombies add 1, points add 1, magnetic field control experience add 1, current experience is 10,000/10,000. Ding. Your magnetic field control ability has been promoted to LV7. The specific ability needs to be explored by the master. Promotion to the next stage requires 0/10W experience. The strengthening of the thunder and lightning power has just ended, and a steady stream of magnetic force quickly fills the body. Compared with the strengthening of the thunder and lightning power, the magnetism is gentler, but it solidly and powerfully improves Lin Fan's physique. The mental power is greatly increased, and the magnetic field is controlled. The superpower has been expanded to include more ways to use it, but these require Lin Fan to discover little by little. Soon, the enhancement of the magnetic field superpower ended, and corpses and rubble that floated around him from unknown time also fell back. On the ground, the women were not affected at all. System, open the personal panel. Character, Lin Fan. Strength, 98. Agility, 96. Intelligence, 109. Physique, 112. Points, 24,012. Ability, magnetic field control LV7 A lightning control level 5 A. Experience, 108/10W, 89/1000. Possessed items, flying knife * 100. The attributes instantly exceeded 100, and even the lowest agility was as high as 96 points. The collective breakthrough of the two superpowers brought about a strengthening that was really terrifying. Feeling the power within his body, Lin Fan even doubted whether he would cause an earthquake if he stamped with all his strength. This physical power. It's absolutely terrifying. Not only the attribute values A euro have skyrocketed, but the points have also increased to 24,000. Needless to say, this must be the result of Lin Yuyu, Zhao Wanqing, and those female warriors. They must be working hard to become stronger now, right? The appearance of the army brought an invisible sense of crisis, making everyone eager to become stronger. Just keep walking. The strength breakthrough was over, Lin Fan moved forward again, and the women followed closely behind. Running in the opposite direction to Lin Fan, Zhao Wanqing led 16 female warriors to push forward. Although she was not as invincible as Lin Fan, and the zombies fell like wheat with a wave of her hand, her speed was not slow either. Zhao Wanqing acted as an arrow. The first team was in front, and the second team was behind. The swords were like shadows. All the zombies who tried to attack the formation fell to the ground and became complete corpses. There was no terrain to act as a clamp, and Zhao Wanqing had special powers. Although the captain of the group was slow, they did not stop for half a second. Zilla! Thunder light burst out. Zhao Wanqing, who was originally wielding the Tang Dao, was shaken. Rays of thunder light were emitted, and the momentum in her body began to rise rapidly. Seeing this scene, the surrounding female warriors showed envious looks in their eyes, and they did not dare to do so later. Hesitating, they all backed away. They knew that Zhao Wanqing had achieved a breakthrough in her powers. This had happened twice before. They were still worried at the beginning, but now they were more worried about themselves. As for whether Zhao Wanqing would be attacked by zombies, there was no need to worry about it. The radiated thunder light enveloped a 10-meter area around Zhao Wanqing. The area within this 10-meter radius was filled with blue thunder light. As long as the zombies stepped into this area, they would be electrocuted into charcoal in less than 2 seconds, and they would never die again. The vision of the breakthrough quickly disappeared, and all the splashing lightning was retracted as Zhao Wanqing's breakthrough ended. Within a radius of 10 meters, dozens of zombies were lying around. With blue electricity intertwined in his eyes, Zhao Wanqing raised her arm and made a fist with her hand. Thunder snakes spread from her shoulders to her fists. The whole arm seemed to be an aggregation of thunder and lightning. Feeling the surge of power and lightning energy in her body, Zhao Wanqing felt in her heart so excited. The ability to control lightning has broken through again. Now she is LV4, but if she wants to advance to LV5, she has to kill 500 zombies. This is the clear understanding in her mind, as if there is some voice telling her that after killing 500 zombies, the lightning power will be activated. Advanced again. Looking at the zombies coming in front, Zhao Wanqing's Tang sword in her hand was like a thunder god's sword. With a slash, the sword energy condensed by thunder and lightning flew out, sweeping across like a huge sickle. The zombies were everywhere it passed. After being cut in half, the 2-meter-long lightning sword energy swept across a distance of nearly 10 meters, sweeping away the dense tide of corpses into a vacuum zone. The power of this blow, which killed dozens of zombies, not only shocked Zhao Wanqing, but also shocked the 16 female warriors nearby who were killing the zombies in an orderly manner. Seeing the terrifying effect caused by this blow, Zhao Wanqing thought in her mind, now that she is so powerful at level 4, what about Lin Yuyu? She obtained this divine power earlier, maybe at a higher level, right? Thinking of this, Zhao Wanqing became even more stressed. He couldn't keep up with Lin Yuyu, but he couldn't be too far behind. Everyone, hurry up. Our progress is too slow. With a wave of her arm, the thunder and lightning sword energy was slashed out again. Now the thunder and lightning ability has been advanced to level 4. The thunder and lightning energy in her body is already quite large, enough for her to squander it like this. Another vacuum zone 2 meters wide and 10 meters long appeared. Zhao Wangqing's whole body was covered with lightning. In a flash, she was already 10 meters away. The several meter long electric arc slowly dissipated behind her. Seeing this scene, the women in the team focused their gazes and stopped playing steadily. Their foot speed increased. For a moment, the speed of wielding the Tang Dao was faster, and the second team followed closely, and the speed of killing zombies suddenly doubled. Previously, Zhao Wangqing's order required a steady attack, so the women's forward speed seemed a bit slow, but now the lightning power after being promoted to level 4, Zhao Wangqing already had the capital to control the zombie tide, so she let go of her scruples. Zhao Wangqing, whose lightning power reached level 4, was as fast as a ghost. She often appeared 10 meters away in the blink of an eye. 16 female warriors fought hard after killing the zombies. The entire street turned into a pure land, and there was no longer a standing zombie. There were 17 people in total, but the momentum was greater than the 170 people. Such an obvious target was quickly covered by people on both sides of the street. The survivors noticed and were shocked to see how fierce Zhao Wangqing and others were. After the shock, they were ecstatic. They had been trapped for so long and could not wait to be rescued. Now seeing Zhao Wangqing and others, the strength of a person is so terrifying, it's like seeing hope. Hope of rescue. Wu Jianzhong is one of them. Not only Wu Jianzhong, but also the residents in the surrounding buildings who are still alive are looking at Zhao Wangqing and others expectantly, and even open the windows to look at them. Zhao Wangqing and others on the street shouted for help. Hello. People downstairs, did you hear that? Come and save me. Stop, there is someone alive upstairs, can you come and save me? Those women, stop, are you blind? Didn't you hear someone calling for help upstairs? Come up and save us. We are all compatriots, come and save us. Zhao Wangqing, who has greatly improved in strength, has sharp ears and eyesight. Not to mention her, the female warriors around her heard it and looked at the residential buildings on both sides. When they saw someone leaning out of the window, there was even someone holding a flower pot. Zhao Wangqing frowned as they smashed down in an attempt to attract their survivors. Look at the 16 female warriors, you don't a Euro trademark T know what to do. Conceptually, they don't a Euro trademark T want to save them, especially they hate those men and want to kill all the men. But Zhao Wangqing is the captain here, and what to do depends on Zhao Wangqing, the captain. Zhao Wangqing thought over and over again, gave up killing the zombies on the street, waved her hand, and directed he pointed at the nearest residential building and said, let's go over and save those people out of their misery. Zhao Wangqing deliberately emphasized the word rescue, and the women who were originally reluctant understood it. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 84. Chapter 084, what greets you when you open the door is not necessarily rescue, but death knocking on the door. Will Zhao Wangqing be kind enough to save these people? That must be impossible. What she was worried about was that these people must have seen her using the thunder and lightning sword energy, right? What if it's posted online? Lin Fan's video was posted online before, and then attracted the attention of the military region. Is it actually only the Lu family of the Demon City warlord? Absolutely impossible. With 100% chance, all the major military regions across the country know about it, even the top political leaders, and the president who holds the power of the empire before the end must also know about it. The reason why only members of the Lu family of the Demon City warlord appeared was because only the Lu family of the Demon City warlord was the closest, just on the outskirts of the Demon City, but other places were different. It was conceivable that the next step would definitely not be peaceful. If these people now take a video of her and those female warriors killing zombies, it will definitely attract a lot of attention. Thunder and lightning powers. She behaves inhumanly, even the female warriors under her are similar. Who has ever seen a woman who kills zombies as well as mows grass? This is no worse than the king of soldiers in the army, right? Zhao Wanqing didn't want to attract widespread attention before she rose to prominence. This would be bad for both her and Lin Fan. There was no need for these people to exist anymore. Not only the people who stuck their heads out to ask for help, but everyone in the commercial building must not be spared. Kill the man and take the woman back to the hospital. A group of 17 people went to the downstairs of the community, killing corpses everywhere along the way. Zhao Wanqing took the lead and quickly walked into the nearest residential building. On the first floor, open the doors one by one to check if there are any living people inside. Kill the men and leave the women behind. Take them away when you leave. Most of these residential buildings are about 20 stories high. Facing the wolf-like and tiger-like Zhao Wanqing and others, these zombies, which are terrifying in the eyes of ordinary people, are just like chickens, turning into dead corpses as soon as they meet. There were very few people alive in the residential building until they reached the 7th floor, which was the door of the first person who called for help downstairs. Zhao Wanqing kicked him over, but the door did not open. It was obviously locked from the inside and blocked with heavy objects. The handle of the knife banged on the door a few times, and Zhao Wanqing shouted, "Open the door." Inside the door, the sound of heavy objects being moved could be heard. Zhao Wanqing's face was cold, as were the 16 female soldiers around her, with murderous intent in their eyes. Inside the room, Wu Jianming struggled to move the furniture blocking the door, his face filled with excitement. Things in Shanghai are too expensive. For him whose salary is not very high, it is more convenient for him to buy and make things himself, so he always has rice, noodles, and vegetables at home. When the end came, it was these rice noodles that saved him. There were no vegetables, so long as he could survive and eat rice, he would be fine. But now, the rice was almost gone, and before he could be rescued, Wu Jianming lived in anxiety every day, waking up every day. The first thing I did was to stand by the window and see if there was any rescue outside. Day after day, today was his last meal. If he could not wait for rescue, he would only starve to death or commit suicide by jumping off the building. Simply, God was blessed by him. When he was most desperate, he saw hope. I don't Euro trademark T know when more than a dozen women appeared on the street. Those women are so fierce. Killing zombies is like chopping vegetables, especially the one at the front. She is full of electricity. With a wave of her hand, she can unleash a 2-meter-long thunder and lightning sword energy. Killing zombies is even more powerful. It's like cutting wheat, one knife cuts a large area. Seeing this, Wu Jianming couldn't be more excited. Yelling crazily into the street, he knew that if he missed today, he might never have a chance to ask for help again. So he worked extra hard. And those women on the street also saw him, and then actually rushed into the community. He knew it. He is saved. During the long wait, the door seemed to have been kicked, and the walls were shaking. Shocked by such a huge force, Wu Jianming hurriedly ran to the door, and then he heard the two most beautiful words in the world. Open the door. He was finally saved. After coming from hell to heaven, he used all his strength to move the furniture blocking the door. He was afraid that if he moved slowly, the other party would leave, and he would probably go crazy. After finally pushing away the obstructing furniture, Wu Jianming opened the door with excitement. Looking at the more than 10 women standing at the door, a chilling air hit his face, and there was also the woman at the front. So beautiful. Poof. The blood was filled with light, and Zhao Wanqing didn't even look at the man in front of her. The tang knife in her hand instantly pierced the man's heart. The power of thunder and lightning was instantly withdrawn. Let alone an ordinary person, even if she was hit like this, she would probably, death is not far away. Sheathing the knife, Zhao Wanqing looked at the man kneeling on the ground in front of her with a look of disbelief on her face. Zhao Wanqing said in a cold voice, "You shouldn't have asked for help. You two should go in and search, destroy all the mobile phones, computers and other internet-connected devices. The remaining come with me." "Yes. Team leader." The two women raised their knives and walked around the dead Wu Jianming to carry out the orders given by Zhao Wanqing. The remaining people followed Zhao Wanqing and left without looking back. 8th floor, 9th floor, 10th floor. They broke in one by one, but not everyone was like Wu Jianming, who always prepared rice and noodles at home. The residents in the room either became zombies, or starved to death, or the windows were opened and the room was empty. Until the entire residential building was searched, Zhao Wanqing did not see a second living person. Without hesitation, Zhao Wanqing immediately led people to another building. "Before I go back today, I need to search all the residential buildings in this community to eliminate the possibility of any accidents. Maybe many people do not deserve to die and are very innocent, but this is the end of the world. If you are not cruel, you may be killed by others. Instead of resenting and regretting how you were when you were persecuted, it is better to eradicate the roots now and eliminate all future troubles." Zhao Wanqing is very satisfied with her current life and will never allow it to be ruined by outsiders. In the second building, on the 5th floor, Zhao Wanqing stood at the door with cold eyes. Cursing voices came from behind the door, seeming to express the Lord's dissatisfaction. "This time I leave it to you, don't let me down." Hearing this, a cruel light flashed in the eyes of the 16 female warriors. "Men. They like to kill men the most." The door opened, and a fat man appeared at the door. Looking at Zhao Wanqing and others outside the door, a flash of light flashed in his small eyes. With a touch of silvery color, he had no consciousness of being rescued, and he had no idea that what he was greeted by when he opened the door was a group of death gods. "You guys are so slow, what are you doing? I'm almost dying of waiting. Is this how you treat taxpayers?" Listening to the curse of the dead fat man, the sword in the hand of the female warrior next to her flashed, and the tang knife stained with the blood of countless zombies was mercilessly stabbed into the dead fat man's stomach. Poof! The sound of the tang knife entering the flesh was heard by the woman. They sounded so intoxicating, with sickly dizziness on their faces. For a moment, they stabbed back and forth a few more times and then put the knife away. Soon the fat man was turned into a hornet's nest. Zhao Wanqing had already led the people away. The two female warriors left behind crossed over the fat man and began to check if there were any omissions, destroying everything that could be connected to the internet. When the two female warriors came out after doing all this, the fat man was not dead yet. He lay on the ground and kept vomiting. The woman who made the move before raised her foot and kicked the dead fat man in the face. Don't underestimate the female warrior's current strength. She has been strengthened by Tang Dao countless times. With this kick, the wall can be destroyed. You kicked a dent. I don't a Euro trademark T know if it was luck. On the 11th floor of this building, Zhao Wanqing heard the voice from the door again. The door opened, but this time it was a woman. Looking at the sallow and thin woman in front of her, Zhao Wanqing seemed to I saw her as she was before. "Excuse me, are you sent to rescue by the state?" Facing the woman's hopeful gaze, a flash of sarcasm flashed in Zhao Wanqing's eyes. She was also expecting the country to rescue her, but unfortunately, the country simply couldn't take care of itself. "Sorry, no, we are a personal force. Do you want to follow us? It can give you a safe environment and food and clothing, but the price is a certain amount of labor, which is basically the same as before the Doomsday." Zhao Wanqing shook her head and stated the conditions again. After hearing this, the woman's eyes flashed with disappointment, but she still nodded. I'm going with you, thank you for coming to save me. Zhao Wanqing winked, and the two women rushed into the room to check it again. Finally, they nodded to Zhao Wanqing, indicating that there was no problem and everything was done. Zhao Wanqing understood and took out a bottle of mineral water and bread from the backpack she was carrying. To the woman, you can take these and eat them first. We have to save others. You wait for us inside first, and we will take you away together later. The woman was a little scared, but she didn't make any noise. She obviously understood the situation. After taking the food, she thanked her repeatedly. On the 22nd floor, Zhao Wanqing stood at the door with a group of female soldiers. The door in front of her opened, and a middle-aged man appeared with a look in his eyes. With surprise, when she saw Zhao Wanqing and others, she came up with a burst of flattery. Seeing this middle-aged man, Zhao Wanqing was not in a hurry to take action. She always felt that there was something wrong with this man. So far, 3 survivors have been found. One Wu Jianming, the second fat man and the third woman, all 3 of them, without exception, have dark complexions and not much healthy color, but this middle-aged man is different. He looks very healthy, not at all, it's not like someone who lacks nutrition and food. It's been more than a month since the end of the world. Is this normal? You two go in, search it, be careful. The 2 female warriors stepped forward, looked at the man blocking the door, and scolded, "Get out of the way." He Yumming's smile froze on his face, looking very unnatural. Looking at the cold looks of the 2 female warriors, he smiled and said, "No need, you two. The house is very messy, so don't look at it." Buzz. Tang Dao was placed on He Yumming's neck. Su Yan shouted coldly, "Do you want to die?" It goes without saying that the Tang sword is sharp. A chill ran down He Yumming's spine and he quickly waved his hands to get out of the way. Su Yan took back the Tang sword and walked in with another female warrior. As time went by, sweat broke out on He Yumming's forehead, and he kept feeling anxious in his heart. Pray. But obviously, there is no God in the sky, and his prayers cannot be received. Soon, Su Yan walked out with a cold face, and the cold light in his eyes was undisguised. Thinking of the scene he saw inside, Su Yan couldn't wait to cut He Yumming into pieces. Noticing something wrong with Su Yan and the other 2, Zhao Wanqing asked what's going on inside. Before Su Yan could answer, He Yumming knelt on the ground with a bang, kowtowing and begging for mercy. "I really didn't mean it. I have no choice, please, I really have no choice. I don't a Euro trademark T want to die either. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers." Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 85. Chapter 085, The Truth in the Room. The women were dumbfounded. He Yumming's performance proved more and more that things were not simple. Zhao Wanqing knew what must have happened in the room, and looked at Su Yan, waiting for her answer. Thinking of what they saw in the room, Su Yan and the other female soldier became more and more disgusted with men. They looked at the dead people and stared at He Yumming, who was kneeling and kowtowing. Su Yan said in a concentrated voice, "We found something in the refrigerator. A lot of meat. Human flesh. A female head and half a freezer filled with human flesh. The woman is the bride in the wedding photos, the Mana Euro trademark's wife. This beast, in order to survive, actually killed his wife and froze it in the refrigerator as food." The more Su Yan said, the colder his voice became. The female warriors next to him couldn't restrain themselves and wanted to stab He Yumming. After hearing this, Zhao Wanqing felt a little cold. She could kill her married woman so ruthlessly just to have food to survive. ETA Euro trademark's only been a month and a few days after the end. Will there be another incident of people exchanging children and eating them in the future? Zhao Wanqing doesn't a Euro trademark T dare to think about it? Sorry, there is nothing I can do. I was so hungry that I lost my mind. Damn it, I really deserve to die. He Yuming knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing, crying, but he was facing Zhao Wanking and a group of female warriors who hated men to the extreme. Break the limbs and throw them away to feed the zombies. Zhao Wanking turned around and pronounced the fate of He Yuming. He Yuming, who was kneeling on the ground, was frightened to death. He shouted with red eyes, "You are looking down on human life, you can't treat me so much. Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't need your rescue. Get out." Facing the crazy He Yuming, Su Yan's eyes were full of murderous intent. He unsheathed the tang sword and stabbed He Yuming's limbs without hesitation. His hands and feet were pierced. He Yuming lay on the ground like a useless person, and he was still roaring and cursing crazily. Su Yan lifted him up with one hand, and quickly rushed downstairs. Soon he was on the street outside. Using his arms, he threw He Yuming into the zombies. The screams echoed, and the zombies feasted. Watching. In this scene, it was not until He Yuming was completely dismembered that Su Yan and another female soldier left. Zhao Wanking and others moved quickly. The entire community only had 13 buildings. Near evening, they searched it thoroughly. The man discovered more than 20 people were now turned into corpses. He Yuming only found one, while the woman found 8. He brought all 8 women to the gate of the community and looked at the sun that was about to set. Even Zhao Wanking, now that I am powerful, I dare not challenge how terrifying the zombies are at night. Come on, we have to get back to the hospital before dark. Since we had cleaned up before coming, the way back seemed very smooth, except that the 8 women following us were a little struggling. They were all ordinary people, and they were still malnourished for a long time. Even if they had just eaten, they couldn't keep up with Zhao Wanking and the others. Looking at the situation, Zhao Wanking waved her hand and said, "Su Yan, each of you carries one on your back. When you are tired, change others and go back as soon as possible." The girls nodded, and their speed increased a lot when passing an intersection. Zhao Wanking suddenly raised her hand to stop everyone's progress. In the doubtful eyes of the girls, Zhao Wanking looked towards the street on the left. Over there, the roar of the engine was very harsh. Looking over, at the end of the road, several off-road vehicles made harsh roars, knocking away the zombies blocking the road. In addition to the roar of the engines, there were also the crazy roars of men and women. They seemed very excited and regarded crushing zombies as entertainment. Behind the modified off-road vehicle, there was also a truck. Unsurprisingly, this group of people must have come out to search for food. The off-road vehicle opened the way to attract zombies, and the truck took advantage of it. While the zombies were being lured away, Zhao Wanking came to carry the food needed for life. Looking at these people, Zhao Wanking wanted to go over and capture them, and then find the other party's stronghold along the way, but it was too late now, and Zhao Wanking could only give up. Safety is the most important thing. Su Yan was carrying a woman on his back, looking at the arrogant convoy over there, and asked, "Captain, do you want to go there?" "No, let's go back first, these people can't escape." With that said, Zhao Wanking headed towards the hospital without looking back. Not long after, Zhao Wanking returned to the hospital. At the entrance of the hospital, Lin Yuyu stood quietly, but the flying sword light kept strangulating. Looking at the zombies coming from other directions. After all, the zombies around here are limited. After so many days of strangulation, the number of zombies coming over has been significantly reduced. It can be foreseen that in 2 days at most, there will be no more zombies. There are zombies coming over again. Even if the zombies have a keen sense of smell, their distance is limited. It is impossible to smell the scent of a living person even though they are several kilometers away. Looking at Lin Yuyu at the door, Zhao Wanking is very wary, even if it is her lightning power has now been promoted to LV4, but she still feels incomprehensible when looking at Lin Yuyu. It's like they are not on the same level. Zhao Wanqing guessed that Lin Yu's power level is at least L5, and may even be already she has reached level 6. Now she has to kill 500 zombies to advance to level 5. ETA Euro trademark S hard to imagine how many zombies it takes to reach level 6. Came back. Come on in, are these the survivors that were discovered? Thanks for your hard work. Lin Yu straightened the wind-blown hair around her ears and greeted Zhao Wanqing. Zhao Wanqing responded. Just as she was about to ask if Lin Fan was back, she felt a suppressed and terrifying aura coming from the street opposite. The power of thunder and lightning made Zhao Wanqing couldn't help but look over, and she was stunned for a moment. At the end of the street, behind the dense zombies, Lin Fan was walking at the front. The zombies blocking the road were turned into coke by the terrifying lightning. He couldn't even get closer than 100 meters before he turned into a corpse. Behind Lin Fan, hundreds of women followed closely with awe in their faces. Looking at this scene, not only Zhao Wanqing was stunned, but also Su Yan and other 16 people, the female warriors, were also shocked. Compared with them, Lin Fan looked more like he was just having fun. It was already a bit difficult for them to bring back these 8 women, but Lin Fan bringing hundreds of women was like going out for an outing. The zombies couldn't take a step beyond the bounds. This scene was too shocking. It didn't take long for Lin Fan to clear away all the zombies blocking the road. Looking at Zhao Wanqing and others in front of them in a daze, Lin Fan smiled slightly and raised his hand to caress Zhao Wanqing's face. I can feel your efforts, you have become stronger. A lot. After saying that, Lin Fan also looked at Su Yan and others. You too are working hard to become stronger. After receiving Lin Fan's praise, Su Yan and others almost fainted from excitement. Being praised by the gods in my heart, this feeling is worth dying for. Host, Lord, these are all given by you, and we are extremely grateful for your greatness. What we have done is simply insignificant. The electronic door slowly opened, and Lin Yu walked out. Looking at the hundreds of women behind Lin Fan, Lin Yu couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. She obviously didn't expect that Lin Fan would bring back so many women. Lord, go in first, it's getting dark soon. Opening his arms and hugging Lin Yu, Lin Fan lowered his head and kissed her. In front of so many people, Lin Yu was still a little uncomfortable. When Lin Fan raised his head, Lin Yu's face was rosy. The family has worked hard for you, and these women must also work hard for you to arrange it. Lin Yu shook her head, pulled Zhao Wanqing next to her, and said with a smile, it's not hard, I still have Wanqing to help me. No, ETA Euro trademark S what I should do to share the Lord a Euro trademark S worries. Okay, let's all go in, it's getting dark. A group of women followed them into the hospital. After handing these women over to Lin Yu and Zhao Wanqing, Lin Fan acted as a hands-off shopkeeper and walked to the edge of the open farmland with his hands behind his back. The hospital is very large and has a lot of open space. Lin Fan Yu did not leave the maids idle, and was always cultivating the land. When Lin Fan came over, 5 or 6 acres of land had been reclaimed. Seeing Lin Fan coming, the maids knelt on the ground to say hello, and Lin Fan raised his eyebrows. I was a little surprised, but I thought it was probably Lin Yu's arrangement, so I didn't care. Isn't it normal for a maid to kneel down and say hello to her master? After walking around in the field, Lin Fan pointed to the vegetable patch in front of her. Asked what is grown here. If we go back to the Lord, here are the beans. What about over there? Potato. Here's the eggplant. Listening to the maid's answers, Lin Fan nodded secretly. He had grown a lot of vegetables, but he didn't know whether the climate in the Magic City was suitable for the growth of these vegetables. He had never planted them before. After leaving the farmland, Lin Fan came when we arrived at the orchard. Unlike the newly planted vegetables, these fruits were all transplanted from Suzialugo. They were all finished products, and many of them were edible. There were also a few maids here, so Lin Fan asked the job of these maids is to catch insects and drive away the flying birds. Many birds will eat fruits. In order to prevent the fruits from being harmed, these maids will drive them away whenever they find birds coming. Lin Fan turned around. Lin circled around and found that the house was arranged in an orderly manner. He felt very relieved. The only problem was that a group of maids kept looking at him. He felt a little embarrassed even if he wanted to pick a grape to see if it was sour. He found a hidden corner, and Lin Fan turned sideways to block the sight of the maids, picked one with quick hands and feet, and then threw it directly into the beaker. Not sour, very sweet. He left the orchard contentedly, but as soon as he left, a maid came over. She looked at the missing grapes and glanced at Lin Fan's back strangely. Blocking their view just to steal a grape? If it had been anyone else, this maid would have been frightened to death. Lin Yu had strictly ordered the maid not to eat fruit secretly, and she would be severely punished if she was found guilty. But now that it was Lin Fan who ate it, she would not be afraid anymore. If she reported the truth truthfully, there would be no consequences at all. Punishment, she didn't panic at all. Little did he know that Lin Fa, whose little trick was discovered, returned to the supermarket leisurely. Zhao Yanyan, who was watching at home, saw Lin Fan coming back. She immediately smiled and knelt down beside him to change Lin Fan's shoes. She looked up at Lin Fan with a charming face. "Lord, would you like to take a bath first or?" You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Da. Chapter 86. In the military district on the outskirts of Shanghai, a military helicopter landed slowly. The helicopter's hatch opened and Major Yefeng jumped off. Bai Hao was also taken down by several soldiers and followed behind Yefeng. With Bai Hao, Yefeng arrived at the military region conference hall unimpeded. After receiving permission, Yefeng opened the door and walked into the conference hall, while Bai Hao stayed outside. Yefeng stood upright under the gaze of Lu Yuanbin and others, and saluted generals. Major Yefeng has returned to the team. He has fulfilled his mission and successfully brought Bai Hao back. Lu Yuanbin nodded with a smile. Regarding his soldiers, General, they are generally very caring, and so is Lu Yuanbin. Okay, well done. Do you have any other gains from going out this time? Have you found the two people in the video? Yefeng stood up straight and replied after hearing this report to the general that the two people in the video were not found. Lu Yuanbin had expected it, and was not disappointed when he heard this. He stood up and patted Yefeng on the shoulder, encouraging him. It doesn't matter, this is expected. You have been working hard this time, so go back and rest first. Yes, General. Yefeng saluted, but did not leave in a hurry. Lu Tongyu, who was sitting on the right side of the conference table, frowned and said, Major Yefeng, what are you waiting for? Lu Yuanbin raised his hand to stop Lu Tongyu's scolding, and asked with a smile, what's wrong? Is there anything else you want to say? Yefeng was thinking of the women he saw at the Second Key Hospital in Shanghai. In Yefeng's eyes, these women were all good prospects. He didn't want those women to be swallowed up by zombies because the army left for too long. The military region said it's in the suburbs, but how big is Magic City? Magic City is said to be a city, but in fact it's not much smaller than a province. It's hundreds of kilometers away when the army sets out there. If it's late, those good seedlings may have already been there. Zombie a Euro trademark S Chinese food. General, I just want to ask, when will our army set out to enter the city? Oh? Is there anything worth worrying about so much? Are there any relatives of yours in Magic City? If this is the case, a helicopter can be sent to pick it up. Lu Yuanbin loves his soldiers as much as his sons, not to mention that Yefeng is a confidant he promoted, so he is naturally very concerned about it. Ye Feng shook his head and said embarrassedly, report to the general, I just accidentally discovered a few very good ones. Seedlings, I want to bring them back. These good seedlings died miserably in the zombies. What a waste. Good seedling? How good is it? Lu Yuanbin was surprised. He knew Ye Feng very well. He had a very high vision. Anyone who could be called a good prospect must have something extraordinary. If that was the case, he wouldn't mind giving Ye Feng some privileges. He recalled it. Ye Feng said, based on the observations of my subordinates, those women have very strong physical fitness, far better than our soldiers. With a little training and teaching some military skills, the king of soldiers will not be a problem. Poof, unable to hold back, Lu Tongyu laughed out loud. Although the conference hall was a very serious place, Lu Tongyu still couldn't hold back. Major Ye Feng, do you know what you are talking about? A few women can become soldiers with a little training, king? Are you kidding or looking down on our soldiers? Or are you saying that you despise the title of king of soldiers? Not just any cat or dog can become the king of soldiers. Tongyu, enough is enough. Lu Jingyu's face was gloomy. Ye Feng was his subordinate. Lu Tongyu mocked him like this. Wasn't this a slap in the face in public? Lu Tongyu looked at Lu Jingyu with raised eyebrows. He had never been convinced by this elder brother. Sooner or later, the old man had to delegate power. So who is the commander-in-chief of the military region? A long time ago, the two brothers didn't see eye to eye and often fought openly and secretly. Enough. Just when Lu Tongyu wanted to retaliate, Lu Yuanbin's old voice came, and Lu Tongyu shut up in an instant. Lu Yuanbin had long known about the overt and covert fighting between the two brothers. He also had a headache. The palms and backs of his hands were full of flesh, and he didn't. Who do you prefer to help? Ye Feng, you go back and rest first. I already know about this. The army will enter the city soon. Don't worry. Ye Feng looked at Lu Yuanbin gratefully. The battle at the top was beyond his control, but the old general's promise still moved him. Yes, general. As for Bai Hao, everyone present didn't care. He was just a little transparent and almost dispensable. If it wasn't to prevent him from being taken away by other forces, there would be no need to bring him back. After Ye Feng left, Lu Yuanbin, after knocking on the table, the secretary next to him turned on the projector, and soon a picture appeared on the projection screen. The situation is getting worse. Not only domestic forces are paying attention, but many foreign countries have also seen the video. The international voice is very loud and they want to take those two people back. It is very likely that some countries will take action by now. Lu Yuanbin sighed. He had just learned about this matter. This development trend gave him a headache. The country has not dealt with it well, and foreign countries have come in to get involved, especially the conditions put forward by those countries. It is simply speechless. In order to recruit that boy, Emperor Neon actually promised to marry the little princess to that man. The British Empire wants to marry a princess? Good guy, this is not the famous princess from Neon. This princess has the right to inherit the throne. Good guy, the furry bear even threw out the vice president. What is this stuff? The outstanding bloodline of Dabangza country? Let that kid recognize his ancestors and return to his clan. This little country has not been overrun by zombies yet. Looking at the international text messages on the projection screen, the two brothers Lu Tongyu and Lu Jingyu were so envious that their teeth were sore. Lead a Euro trademark S talk about how we plan to handle this matter. Lu Yuanbin knocked on the conference table and asked with a straight face. On the right side of the conference table, Wu Qiuzhong pondered for a moment and said, the top priority now is to find those two people. They must not be snatched away by foreign countries. Even if they die, they must die in our country. I suggest sending troops to clean up the magic city as soon as possible and detain this person. Wu Qiuzhong is Lu Yuanbin's old friend, and his words are very weighty. Lu Yuanbin nodded. He thought the same as Wu Qiuzhong. In his opinion, the two people in the video are very dangerous. If they cannot stay in the country and be used by him, then it must be destroyed, otherwise the threat will be too great. With such a person here, who can sleep peacefully? Wu Qiuzhong's words were in line with Lu Yuanbin's thoughts, and he immediately said, "Pass my military order, all the soldiers of the Lu family, the warlord of the demon city, will be ready. Weapons and chariots have all been inspected. In 3 days, we will enter the magic city." Everyone in the conference hall stood up and shouted in unison, "Yes. Commander-in-Chief. The meeting is over." An order was issued, and the entire Demon City warlord Lu family mobilized urgently. Technical troops checked the status of strategic weapons such as tanks, armored vehicles, and attack aircraft overnight. Everything was preparing for the war in 3 days. Demon City is finally about to welcome the war. Come the smoke of artillery fire. In the hospital supermarket, faced with such an obvious hint from Zhao Yanyan, Lin Fan took a shower as a matter of course and put the exhausted Zhao Yanyan in the room. Lin Fan opened Suzialuo's door feeling refreshed. She didn't know if Suzialuo was too serious about her painting, but she didn't even notice when Lin Fan opened the door and walked in. Without interrupting, Lin Fan casually picked up a piece of paper. It must have been a scrap manuscript. It had a construction drawing of the hospital on it. Unfortunately, it was only half of the drawing and was thrown away. After picking up a few pictures in a row, Lin Fan thought they were good. After all, for a layman like him, they were really good. Ah! This one doesn't a Euro trademark T work either, I always feel like something is wrong. Suddenly, Suzialuo shouted frantically. He grabbed the A4 paper with his little hand, rolled up a picture he was about to draw into waste paper, and then threw it out. He raised his hand to grab it. Lin Fan I opened it and looked at it, scratching my head a little. What's wrong with this? I think it's already very good. Suzialuo suddenly turned around and looked at Lin Fan who was standing not far behind him. He ran up to Lin Fan with his bare white and tender feet, grabbed the A4 paper and pointed at it seriously. It said, "Look here, here, and here, they are not in line with my expectations at all. If it is built according to this, it will be a huge loss. This is the masterpiece of the great designer Suzialuo. How could it be so careless? How could I, Suzialuo, live in a place without style? No. No. Absolutely not." As he spoke, Suzialuo waved his hands, with a very dissatisfied look on his face. Lin Fan pinched his chin and asked doubtfully, "This is for me to live in? When did I say I allowed you to live here?" Ah! Suzialuo's face was dull, and he looked at Lin Fan blankly. After a long time, he exclaimed, Eh? You won't let me stay? Ah! How can you be so cruel? You tyrant!" After screaming, Suzialuo rushed towards Lin Fan angrily, raised his fist high and kept beating Lin Fan, expressing his dissatisfaction. Suzialuo's face almost wrinkled when he saw it. Lin Fan quickly grabbed Suzialuo's little fist, pinched her little nose, and said with a smile, "I'm just kidding, you are so cute, how can I not let you stay? You, don't be too anxious, don't keep it, might be helpful to stay in your room and go out for a walk to change your mood." Suzialuo sighed in frustration and muttered, I know, it's just a matter of scaring others." Rubbed the legal loli's little head and messed up her hair. Amidst Suzialuo's frantic cries, Lin Fan left the room proudly. If you have nothing to do at home, take a bath or tease the little loli. Lin Fan felt that life was still very nourishing. As soon as he walked to the living room, he saw Lin Yuyu and Zhao Wanqing returning hand in hand, followed by two girls, Li Saiki and Mu Yuking. "You're back. Have those women made arrangements?" Lin Fan stepped forward, hugged Lin Yuyu and Zhao Wanqing, and kissed each other. He accidentally saw the bag Lee Psyche was carrying and was confused. I 1/4s what's this? Lee Psyche smiled and ran to the kitchen with the bag. With a look of confusion, Lin Fan hugged Lin Yu and the two girls and sat on the sofa. Mu King followed closely behind. After Lin Fan sat down, Lin Fan held it in his arms and gently massaged it with his little hands. After a while, Lee Psyche came out with a fruit plate. Looking at the fruits on the coffee table, especially a bunch of grapes, Lin Fan felt very familiar. Lord, do you want to tell me that those maids will take it off and wash it for you? It would be unhygienic if it was not washed. Listening to Lin Yu's instructions, Lin Fan's eyes were dull and he looked suspicious of life. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Doomsday. Chapter 87. Chapter 087. Domineering response. The emperor's head is in the imperial palace, and the princess and concubine are maids. Regarding the fruit, Lin Fan didn't take it to heart. He just didn't expect that he would be discovered after trying it. If he was discovered, forget it and report it to the police. Lin Yu. After understanding the situation, Lin Fan felt relieved. Fruits are regulated. If one of them is discovered, those maids will be severely punished. Lin Fan will not go to the maids because of this. After resting for a while, several people came up from the second floor and were eating the fruits that Lee Psyche had gathered around them. Lin Fan, who was standing in the king's row with Lin Yu, took a look at them and was immediately stunned. Lin Fan had an impression of the three women who came up. Aren't they the three noble dogs who were in the supreme box? Lin Fan still remembered the name of one of them, Li Yun. Up to now, these three people still have collars around their necks, and the silver chains are more like decorations buried in their clothes. The silver glitter is quite beautiful. The three women came up and bowed respectfully. Lin Yu raised her head, glanced at the three women, and explained to Lin Fan the three of them are pretty good at craftsmanship. Wonking is too busy, and they have a strong will. I let them come over and be responsible for cleaning the room and cooking. Lin Fan gave Lin Yu a strange look. He always felt that things were not as simple as they said, but Lin Yu had arranged everything, so he had no objection. Anyway, he felt comfortable in the end. Isn't it still him? Fine. Seeing that Lin Fan had no objection, Lin Yu nodded to the three women, pointed to the rooms inside and said, "Go into the second room on the right. Lin Yu has everything taken care of. Lin Fan is the master." These three women came here just to let Lin Fan control his eyes. If Lin Fan shakes his head, it means nothing. No matter how much the three women beg her, they have to go back to the dormitory. After the episode passed, Lin Fan continued to play games and eat fruit with Lin Yu in his arms. Lin Fan seemed to remember something, raised his head and said, "Psyche, remember to bring some of these fruits to Luoluo." Lee Psyche responded, "Yes, Lord, I will send you a fruit plate later." In the room inside, Li Yun and the three of them let out a long sigh of relief after putting down their things. God knows how nervous they were when they just faced Lin Fan. When they were in the dormitory, Li Yun and the others were scratched. They got Lin Yu's permission to let them try here. If Lin Fan, the master, did not agree, they would go back to the dormitory obediently. Specifically, they would be maids who farmed the land, or they would choose to pick up the Tang Dao and become female warriors. It depends on their personal choice. Fortunately, Lin Fan did not let them go back, and they lived here as they wished. This is the greatest luck among misfortunes since the end of the world. My heart was in my throat just now. When the Lord looked over, I almost couldn't stand. I thought I was going to be driven back. It was so scary. After putting away some of her clothes, Li Yun looked to the side. The person speaking was Zhang Kaiyu. At this time, this beautiful woman was slapping her heart with lingering fear. The bulging clothes seemed to set off a huge wave. Zhangkaiyu is the magic city. The eldest wife of XX, I had a very good relationship with her before the end. We went to the ZY Shenmeng Death Night Club with her just to improve our relationship and see if we could push her husband to the position of Deputy XX of the General Administration. Don't be afraid. Now that we have moved in, it depends on our efforts. We hope to gain the favor of the Lord. Before Li Yun spoke, the beautiful woman next to her spoke first. She was the only beautiful woman in the trio who had nothing to do with Li Yun. Yu Yiren, a very nice name, the person lives up to her name, and the little bird is like her. She is the wife of the chairman of a large group with a market value of tens of billions in Shanghai. She cannot be said to be like a fish and a goose, but I feel pity for her, especially those big eyes that can speak. Even for this woman Li Yun it made her heart beat. After hearing Yu Yiren's words, Zhang Kaiyu was worried and depressed. Apparently she had seen Lin Yuyu and Zhao Wanqing who were no less stunning than them, and she was a little unsure. Li Yun glanced at her good sisters. Comforted, don't worry, the three of you and I are already pretty and have the best figures. At most, we have become married women. But how long have you and I not lived a harmonious married life? Have we ever fucked with other men? It's very clean. Don't be discouraged. After being comforted by Li Yun, Zhang Kaiyu regained her composure and nodded, that's right. I have been a widow for 8 years and have always adhered to women's ethics. I will definitely be able to do it. Yu Yiren's beautiful eyes glanced at the two of them, recalling her married life. Her eyes looked very sad. We have been separated for 9 years. Li Yun took Yu Yiren's hand, and the three of them held their hands together. Li Yun encouraged, don't worry, we also have our own magic weapon to win, and we don't ask for too much, so there will be no problem. After saying that, Li Yun raised her hand and touched the collar around her neck. Yu Yi and Zhang Kaiyu understood instantly when they saw it. Their faces were slightly rosy, but they didn't refute anything. It's time for us to go out. Don't forget that our duty is to cook and clean the room. If we can't do these things, how can we stay? At this time, Zhang Kaiyu and Yu Yiren woke up, hurriedly opened the door and ran out. In the living room, Lin Yuyu glanced at the kitchen and saw the three women starting to cook, then she stopped thinking and devoted herself to the game. Inside, on the sofa, Zhao Wanqing is not as leisurely as Lin Yuyu. She is surfing the internet at the moment. She posted a rescue post before, and now she wants to see if anyone has taken the bait. If so, it will save her trouble when searching for survivors. Phew. Looking through the posts, there are quite a few that have been restored, but not many from the Magic City. There are always some from other provinces. Zhao Wanqing sifted through them. There are only a dozen or so from the real Magic City, most of them. They are all far away, so we can only give up temporarily, and there are only 3 that are close. After remembering the locations, Zhao Wanqing replied one by one, which made those who had been waiting for a day instantly become active, and then there was a burst of gratitude after reading the post. Zhao Wanqing planned to exit the forum, but she soon stopped. For no other reason, the hot search exploded again. Looking at the attractive title, Zhao Wanqing clicked in and took a look at the content. Her expression was very strange. She discovered that these hotly searched posts were actually related to Lin Fan. This was outrageous. But this time it was the aftermath of the last incident, but it happened abroad. Just in time, at this time after Lin Fan finished playing a ranked game, Zhao Wanqing leaned directly into Lin Fan's arms, held up her cell phone and said, "My lord, do you want to marry the Princess of Neon or the Princess of the British Empire? Or do you want to be the vice president of a furry bear?" Lin Fan, who was just about to stretch his muscles and start the journey to advance in the second set, was immediately stunned. He and Lin Yuyu both turned to look at Zhao Wanqing with doubts in their eyes. "What did you say? What Neon Princess, Princess of the British Empire? What is Vice President Furry Bear?" Handing the phone to Lin Fan like a treasure, Zhao Wanqing nodded, "Here, you see for yourself, my lord, you are angry again." Lin Fan took the phone and took a look at it, then raised his eyebrows. Emperor Neon promised that if the gods of the Eastern Empire were willing to condescend to come to Neon, they could choose any princess in the palace as his wife. The Queen of the British Empire promised that if an immortal from the Eastern Empire is willing to marry into the British Empire, she can choose any princess to marry. President Mao Zedong shouted from the air that the Mao Zedong Empire was willing to give him the high position of vice president and have real power. The 3 hot searches all exceeded 100 million. Looking at these 3 eye-catching titles, Lin Fan returned the phone to Zhao Wanqing. Seeing that she still looked curious, Lin Fan wondered, "You really want to know?" Lin Yuyu also raised his head, seeming to be very interested. Not only Zhao Wanqing and Lin Yuyu, but also Mu Yuqing, who was kneeling on the ground pinching his legs, and Li Saiki, who was feeding fruit, all looked at him curiously, obviously wanting to know his choice. Seeing that all the girls were very interested, Lin Fan snorted and said disdainfully, "Do they need to promise? A princess can be so stingy. When I fight over, any princess I want will be mine, isn't it? Neon Emperor? What it is. Sooner or later, one day I will chop off his dog head and hang it in the Imperial Palace. Don't a Euro trademark T forget the national humiliation, do you understand? When the time comes, princesses and concubines will all be used as maids to atone for their sins. Are you satisfied with this answer?" Lin Fan's words made the eyes of Zhao Wanqing and the girls shine with brilliance. They did not think that Lin Fan was crazy, and they never thought that Lin Fan was talking big words. They firmly believed that as long as Lin Fan said it, he would be able to do it. Behead the emperor's head with hanging in the imperial palace, this is the spiritual pillar of Neon. This is equivalent to breaking the backbone of Neon people. All the princesses and concubines are working as maids. It is very exciting to think about it. What about the emperor's daughter and concubine? Let's all go farm. Bo. After kissing Lin Fan on the face, Zhao Wanqing ran away with the drone next to her with a smile. It's night now, and it's easier for the drone to find survivors. There are lights everywhere. If nothing else happens, there will definitely be survivors. She has never played the game of pesticides, so she won a Euro trademark T show off her shame. Eat a Euro trademark S better to do something she is good at. P.S. I didn't a Euro trademark T say we wanted eunuchs. When did we say we wanted eunuchs? I'm just saying that my grades are relatively poor and I don't plan to be a eunuch. Don't think too much. I'm still working hard on coding. How can I be a eunuch? Even if I have poor grades, I will work hard to write. Please don't worry. I can't be a eunuch. No. I know how to be a eunuch. I don't a Euro trademark T know how to be a eunuch. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 88. Chapter 088. I am more willing to risk everything than to live in an ignoble existence. There were no living people in the hospital dormitory building long after the apocalypse. Even after Lin Fan cleaned up all the zombies, there were not many maids who moved in. There were only 40 or 50 of them, and among the 40 or 50 of them, there were some because of their status. Problem: not living together. This makes the huge dormitory building look very empty. Every night, it looks like a haunted house. The roars of zombies from outside make the already huge dormitory building even more terrifying. However, the dormitory building was very lively today. Lin Fan brought hundreds of women back from Zy Shengmeng Death Night Club. With the participation of hundreds of women, the dormitory building could no longer be quiet. The dormitory building belonging to the maids now houses nearly 400 women. Before they had no choice, they were all maids. Unlike usual, Li Fengqiao, Su Yan and others who were supposed to go back to the female warrior dormitory were also in the maids' dormitory. They are like recruiting female soldiers in a school. This is the task given to them by Lin Yuyu. With so many women, Lin Yuyu doesn't want to fall too far. The development of a force cannot rely on just a few. Personally, the number of female warriors must not be too small. Downstairs in the dormitory, the dazzling lights almost lit up the area around the hospital as if it were daytime. At this time, nearly 400 people were sitting on the benches, looking at Suyan and others holding tang knives in front of them. In the crowd, Lu Yuer sat with two other sisters. In the last month, the three of them had established a deep friendship. It could be said that the three of them talked about everything. At this time, Lu Yuer had a worried look on her face. Now she was not as stubborn as she was on the 9th floor of Zy Shengmen Si, but she was very worried. She saw the three Li Yun leave the dormitory and go to the supermarket with their belongings. She asked the other maids, and the results they got made her very uneasy. Over there in the supermarket lived the superior king of the hospital, the master of all the maids. That side was the center of the hospital's power. The maid also told her that Lin Fan didn't like force, which meant that Li Yun and the three of them were doing it voluntarily. Proactive. This gave her a strong sense of crisis. On the way out of the Zy Shengmen Death Night Club, she saw how powerful, mysterious, and terrifying Lin Fan was, and her attitude in her heart had already changed 180 degrees. Lin Fan was an excellent figure, appearance, and strength. Choose, change before the end, that is the top Diamond King. It is much more real now than before the end. Without a strong backer, what will be the result? Just look at the women next to you and you will know. Why haven't she and the other two sisters been touched yet? Isn't it because Lu Jinbei plans to keep them to recruit strong people, or give them to other powerful people? Lu Jinbei had told them this a long time ago, which made them happy and sad at the same time. Fortunately, they would not suffer disaster soon, but sadly, sooner or later, they would be thrown away like goods to others. This is a woman in the apocalypse. She has no status at all. Maybe the only way to have self-respect is to commit suicide, right? Now I met Lin Fan. This man was so powerful that it was terrifying. He was like a god from mythology. He was powerful and handsome. Apart from his bad temper and bad personality, Lu Yuer couldn't find any faults at all. Besides, it's the end of the world, is it her turn to be picky? Even because of the not so pleasant encounter before, he didn't know whether Lin Fan would fall in love with her or whether she was qualified. What qualifications did she have to choose? Yuer, have you seen it before? Li Yun and the other three went to the supermarket. What should we do? Han Jing'ai said with a bitter face. Her beautiful eyes were full of uneasiness and confusion about the future. Her two little hands were helplessly held in her arms, causing the little piglet she had raised for 20 years to suffer. It was okay that Han Jing'ai didn't speak. Qin Xiu on the other side was also a little panicked. She pulled the corner of Lu Yuer's clothes with her little hand and asked for help. Yuer, what should we do? Among the three people, Lu Yuer undoubtedly occupies the dominant position. Listening to the helpless voices of the two good sisters, Lu Yuer is also very distressed. How does she know what to do? Is it so easy to get to the power center? The maid is not qualified to go there. Over there, you will be punished if you go there without permission. She can only wait until senior officials like Lin Yuyu come here before she has a chance to speak. And the most important point is, how should she choose? Just treat it as an ordinary toy. Play with it when you need it, and just be a vase when you don't need it? This is too cruel. It's not what Lu Yuer wants. People have a sense of crisis. There will be more and more vases in the future. Who still remembers where she is? Root green onion? Faced with the helplessness of her good sisters, Lu Yuer calmed down, pointed at Suyan and others holding tang knives in front of them, and whispered, "Don't worry, I have already thought about it, the maid must be Ikana Euro trademark T do it." I want to be a female warrior, so that I can at least have a higher status and have the opportunity to perform. I don't a Euro trademark T want to be a casual vase. Where are you two? Should I choose to kill zombies as a way to get promoted, or should I consider slowly working as a maid, waiting for the opportunity to be spotted one day, and then squeeze into that vortex of power? Qin Xiu and Han Jing'ai hesitated for a while after hearing this. How to choose this? Killing zombies? That is too scary, but being a maid farming and doing chores? That is not what they can do. How do you choose? We all listened to you. Qin Xiu took Lu Yuer's hand and asked for help. Me too. The answers of the two sisters were the same, and Lu Yuer felt relieved. I chose to kill zombies. Don't think it's dangerous. In fact, I think killing zombies is very safe. After all, we fight as a team. As long as we don't seek death, we have these seniors. Now, there is a high probability that we will not have any problems. Compared with maids, female warriors have a higher starting point. Maids farm every day. What kind of tan will they get after a long time? Can you still see your hands and face? When the time comes, who will be able to catch up with us if our skin is rough? When Lu Yuer said this, the two sisters shivered. It seemed that this was really the case. Quiet. A cold shout came from the front, and an invisible evil aura rushed towards her face. What Lu Yuer wanted to say was instantly suppressed. The three girls Su Yan, Zhu Fangfang, and Li Fengjiao held the handles of their knives with both hands and looked at them with cold eyes. Among the hundreds of noisy women in front of them, the one who just spoke was Li Fengjiao, who was standing in the middle. His cold eyes swept across the crowd, and the crowd fell silent instantly. Li Fengjiao was on a mission this time, so naturally she did not dare to neglect it. I know you are all maids brought back today, now I give you two choices. As she spoke, Li Fengjiao raised her hand. First, become a female warrior like us and pick up the Tang sword to kill zombies. In this way, you can gain a higher status and better treatment than a maid, but similarly, it's a big danger, after all we are facing zombies. The second is to become a maid. There is no danger in this. You can also have enough food and clothing, but you have to work hard, just like before the Doomsday. Your tasks are farming and cleaning, and your status is at the bottom. After Li Fengjiao finished speaking, hundreds of women looked at each other and looked at each other. They didn't know what to choose. Killing zombies was too dangerous, and farm work was low status and tiring. If it had been before, they would have never even looked at it. But now in order to survive, they must make a choice. Seeing that many women were motionless, Su Yan raised his foot and stamped hard on the ground. The ground exploded, and large cracks spread out like a spider web centered on Su Yan's foothold. Come on, the range is more than half a meter, and a pit appears where Su Yan landed. Su Yan looked at the many women in front of him with a serious look. Her method was simple and crude, speaking with facts. Become a female warrior and you can also have such power. Zhu Fangfang looked serious, holding her breath and concentrating. The Tang sword in her hand was instantly unsheathed, making a clanging sound. The silver sword flashed, and a knife mark suddenly appeared on the ground 3 meters away. This move is called Dao Mang. When you are as powerful as me, you can also unleash it. Killing a large number of zombies, Tang Dao gave the female warriors terrifying physical fitness, and even slowly condensed a breath of energy in their bodies. Zhu Fangfang only discovered it when she came back today. She is not the only one who can do this. Su Yan and Li Fengjiao can do it, but other female warriors can't. Seeing the inhuman scene in front of them, the women were stunned. They kicked a hole in the ground. Can they still slash it with a knife? Sword chi? That's the sword chi in the TV series, right? Can a female warrior become so strong? The maids were all moved. At this moment, Li Fengjiao spoke, and her words were like a basin of cold water, pouring on all the women head. To be like us, do you know what we have gone through? We faced the siege of thousands of zombies and defended the defense line for more than 3 hours. From the moment we picked up the knife, we have killed more than 200 zombies each. Can you do it? Hiss. There were dense gasps of cold air, and the women's expressions of excitement instantly froze on their faces. Killed more than 200 zombies. What is this concept? They can't even think about it? One zombie is enough for them to scream in terror. How can they resist thousands of zombies? I'm afraid they've been eaten long ago and no bones are left, right? As if she still felt that the information was not enough, Li Fengjiao said again with a cold face, today we crossed several kilometers of streets and faced endless zombies. This will even be the case every day in the future. While gaining great strength, we must also pay corresponding sacrifices. The price is, and most likely the price is death. I have made it clear, there will be no pie in the sky. Now it is your turn to choose. After saying that, Li Fengjiao closed her eyes and said no more. Su Yan and Zhu Fangfang looked at the group of women in front of them with blank expressions. Behind them stood 13 female warriors, although Li Fengjiao had an absolute disadvantage in terms of numbers. But in terms of momentum, they had the absolute upper hand. Under this momentum, hundreds of women did not even dare to discuss loudly. The silence did not last long, as a figure stood up, and the calm was broken. I choose to be a female warrior. Compared to living an ignoble existence, I would rather die vigorously and block everything in me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 89. Chapter 089, The Sudden Crisis, the Severe Situation of the Major Empires. Buzz buzz boom. 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 Da da da. The buzz of helicopter propellers, the blast of missiles, the roar of explosions, and the intensive gunfire intertwined. The night was lit up by various explosions and muzzle flames, and huge lights shone on the ground. A massive, endless sea of a euro zombies. Following the light and looking towards the end of the night, there is an endless sea of a euro corpses with heads connected to each other as far as the eye can see. This is the imperial capital of the Eastern Empire, the cultural and political center of the entire Eastern Empire. At this time, this imperial capital is being attacked by an endless sea of a euro corpses. Zombies' pursuit of living people is terrifying. Their noses are very flexible. The more living people gather, the stronger the smell of living people is, and the more zombies are attracted. Today, 80% of the imperial capital has become a sea of a euro zombies. This imperial capital has a population of nearly 30 million, and the number of zombies is simply countless. Now these endless zombies are surging like ocean waves towards the heart of the imperial capital. There were too many zombies. There was no city wall to stop the zombies in the center of the imperial capital. The muzzles of the guns in the hands of hundreds of thousands of officers and soldiers were red hot with flames. A large number of missiles blew up big holes everywhere in this prosperous capital. On the temporary city wall being built in the rear, a group of high-ranking officials who were stamping their feet and shaking the entire empire were looking at the endless sea of a euro corpses in front of them with binoculars, looking worried. Have the people we sent to the magic city arrived? A general with 2 stars on his shoulders took a step forward, lowered his head and said, "I'm sorry, Your Majesty the Emperor, our people lost contact after leaving the Empire for 1,000 kilometers. Judging from the last scene, they accidentally bumped into the big one." Flock of birds. Hit a large flock of birds. Putting down the telescope in his hand, Yang Ligong looked at the middleman with his old eyes, frowned and asked, when did the quality of our Eastern Empire's air force become so low that it actually ran into a flock of birds? Faced with the emperor's question, Lieutenant General Kong Wengzhou looked bitter, and the quality of the air force was low. Are the soldiers of the ancient eastern country known for their high quality? Emperor, there is something wrong with that flock of birds. They are very aggressive. According to the picture, the flock of birds seems to have turned into zombies because they ate a lot of zombie meat. It is not that there is something wrong with our soldiers, but that the birds are chasing the helicopter. Zhao Jian knew the whole story. When he saw the blurry picture at the end, he was also shocked. Is the sky unsafe now? Even birds are turning into zombies. What about other animals? Yang Ligong hearing this, the old eyelids twitched and he said in shock, you mean, the birds in the sky have turned into zombies? When we lose control of ground traffic, are we about to lose control of the air? Kong Wengzhou smiled bitterly and said in a difficult voice, Your Majesty the Emperor, I'm afraid it's like this. 2 consecutive waves of our helicopters were attacked in that area. The group of crows seemed to regard that area as airspace. Yang Ligong pressed his somewhat swollen and painful head. The situation in the apocalypse has further deteriorated. Birds have mutated. This is not good news. Since birds can become zombies, what about the species on the ground? Those things that eat dead human flesh. Especially the rats, have they turned into zombie rats? What are these rats doing now? Has the ground been dug through? Your Majesty the Emperor, do we still need to send more people to the demon city? Waving his hand, Yang Ligong sighed, there is no need to add more casualties. It doesn't make much sense to go at this time. But the Emperor, the Neon side, the British Empire, and the Woolly Bear Empire have all spoken out. If we, Zhao Xian hesitated to speak, looking very worried. It doesn't matter, let's not talk about how many dangers we will encounter because the Magic City is so far away. Even if we successfully reach the Magic City, let those people have a chance to meet the Lu family, the warlord of the Magic City. We can just sit on the mountain and watch the fight between tigers and tigers. Yes, Emperor. The city wall quickly became quiet, but the silence did not last long before it was broken by the noise. Let me go. Let me go. I want to see the Emperor. I want to see the Emperor. Putting down the telescope in his hand, Yang Ligong turned to look at the source of the noise. More than 10 meters away, a researcher in a white coat was being pulled by several soldiers. The noise was coming from the researcher's eyes. Yang Ligong has very good eyesight, and he knows who is coming just by listening to the voice without even looking. Wen Zhuhua, an imperial researcher with a PhD in biology, also knows the purpose of coming. He knew it even a week ago. Looking at the increasingly serious situation below, Yang Ligong sighed, let him come over. After saying this, Yang Ligong was still hesitating. He didn't know whether it was right or wrong to do this, and what consequences it would bring. With Yang Ligong's promise, Wen Zhuhua took a face excitedly, ran over, looked at Yang Ligong excitedly, and shouted anxiously, Mr. Emperor, are you allowing me to do that experiment? Although Wen Zhuhua is a scientific madman, it does not mean that he is stupid. He still knows a lot of taboos and did not tell the specific experiments. Looking at Wen Zhuhua's excited look, Yang Ligong nodded silently. Those on death row can give it to you. I hope you can produce results that convince me. When Zhuhua's eyes lit up, he patted his heart and promised, Mr. Emperor, I will never let you down. Seeing the excited Wen Zhuhua running away quickly, Yang Ligong didn't know what to say. Wen Zhuhua wanted to do human experiments. Especially after seeing the video, this idea became even crazier. This madman actually wanted to create a god. It's just a human body. The experiment has always been prohibited by order, so it has never been carried out. Now the situation is getting more serious. The appearance of zombie birds forced Yang Ligong to make compromises. Not only the imperial capital of the Eastern Empire, but also the neon country Kyoto across the sea was submerged in a sea of a euro corpses. Compared to the Eastern Empire, the situation of neon was even worse. In this country, which is only the size of a province in the Eastern Empire, there are as many as 200 million people living. With such a terrifying population base, the rate of spread of the zombie tide is even more terrifying, and the madness of the zombies is even more shocking. Unlike the powerful military power of the Eastern Empire, Neon's military power is not strong. After all, it is subject to interference and suppression from North America. This also leads to Neon's form becoming more severe and worse in the face of endless zombies. The Imperial Palace, here is the center of faith of the entire Neon people, where resides the spiritual leader of Neon, the Emperor. The atmosphere in the Imperial Palace at this time was intense. Emperor Tokonami-ya of this generation was ambitious and powerful. After the Prime Minister died at the mouth of a zombie, as the Emperor, he took over the military and political power of Neon for the first time. In the past, the Emperor was only a spiritual leader and had no real rights. Is there any response from the person over there in Shanghai to our conditions? There were gunfire outside the window, and the roar was deafening. Emperor Tokonami-ya, who was now in his 40s, opened his mouth and glanced majestically downwards, waiting for the responses of many ministers below. Reporting to the Emperor, there was no response from the Magic City. It is possible that the other party did not see our statement at all, or did not care at all. The British Empire and the Bear Empire did not see the response from that person. An official who was kneeling on the ground spoke and replied with fear. Emperor Tokonami-ya heard this and said solemnly, the situation in Kyoto is critical now. Is there any response from North America? Hearing Emperor Tokonami-ya's words, many officials below were shocked. You look at me, I look at you. Finally, an official said bravely, His Majesty the Emperor. The North American side said, explain. Say what? They said they could support us with a nuclear bomb to relieve our pressure. Idiot. After decades, do those white-skinned pigs still want to drop nuclear bombs on our soil? Damn it. Takuya Masahito was furious. The nuclear bombs exploded on the country decades ago. It was Neon's shame. Those two nuclear bombs directly ended Neon's invasion of the Eastern Empire. Now the shameless North America still wants to invade his country. Dropping nuclear bombs on the country? If the other party really allowed it to happen, he, the Emperor, would have to die to apologize. Turn down. Those white-skinned pigs will never be allowed to drop nuclear bombs on our sacred land again. Send people. Send someone immediately. The survival of Kyoto is at stake. Those big chaebols cannot stay away. In addition, Chief Tokugawa, please send the best ninjas in our empire to the Demon City. We must invite that person back as quickly as possible. Tokugawa Munamasa, who was sitting below, looked solemn, nodded and said, Your Majesty, I will take care of it immediately. Masahito Tokugawa was able to control the military and political power of Neon so quickly, and the Tokugawa family was indispensable. The real power of Neon is in the hands of the major chaebols, and the Tokugawa family is Neon's largest chaebol. Nihon's chaebols are very much like the gentry during the Warring States period. They possess a large amount of armaments and force. The sum of the major chaebols is several times that of the entire Neon. Even the ordnance manufacturing plants are under the firm control of the major chaebols. Almost all of the world's chaebols, every country is resisting the zombie tide. 1 month has passed since the end of the world. A new crisis is coming. I don't Euro trademark T know how many countries can survive it, and how many countries will be destroyed by this crisis. Eastern Empire, downstairs of the dormitory of the Magic City Hospital. Lu Yuer walked out of the crowd under everyone's gaze, followed by two sisters, Qin Xiao and Han Jing'ai, behind her. Li Fengjiao opened her eyes and looked calmly at the three Lu Yuer girls walking over, with a strange color flashing in her eyes. In her opinion, the appearance of Lu Yuer's three daughters is too human. Even compared with the mistresses Lin Yuyu and Zhao Wanqing, they are not much different. Such women don't even think about how to be vases, but are choose to pick up a knife and fight zombies. Soon, Li Fengjiao saw the perseverance, unwillingness, and ambition in Lu Yuer's eyes. She understood that this woman was not simple. She wanted to be a female warrior not just to gain strength, but to become a female warrior through this class. A springboard to eventually become a mistress like Zhao Wanqing and Lin Yuyu. It's not a vase that Lin Fan can play with when he remembers it, but throws it away without knowing where he can remember it. Being stared at by Li Fengjiao, Lu Yuer felt uncomfortable all over. She felt as if she was naked and had everything seen through. This feeling was very bad. Are you sure? It is very likely that your idea will be eaten by zombies before you can implement it. This is not worth it. Lu Yuer panicked. Looking at Li Fengjiao's calm eyes, she felt a little numb. She didn't expect that the woman in front of her could see her thoughts clearly. But I am sure. If you don't a Euro trademark T dare to give it a try, I want a Euro trademark T give in. Even if I fail, I want a Euro trademark T regret it. At least I tried. Doomsday, I am the only one in the world who has superpowers. Author, Gugu Da. Chapter 90. Chapter 090. When Li Fengjiao's brainwashing was going on, the old driver's face turned red. A clear and determined voice floated downstairs in the dormitory. Lu Yuer's words resonated with many women. Yes, zombies are indeed scary, but if you don't a Euro trademark T dare to give it a try, how can you be willing to do it? Even if it fails and dies, it is better than living a cowardly life like this. There was a commotion in the crowd, and soon, women came out one after another and gathered behind Lu Yuer. They looked directly at Li Fengjiao with firm eyes and said decisively, we all want to be female warriors. If we don't succeed, we would rather die. Looking in front of me among the group of people, Li Fengjiao was a little moved. Her eyes stayed on Lu Yuer's face for a moment. She didn't expect that this woman's few words could inspire so many women to take courage. Many women were still making choices. Li Fengjiao did not speak until 5 minutes later. Li Fengjiao mentioned Tang Dao, those who have not made a choice don't have to choose anymore. Congratulations to those who have come forward. From today on, you are a glorious warrior. The remaining women can go back. From today on, you will be the lowest maids. Someone will assign you jobs tomorrow. Now, follow me. After speaking, Li Fengjiao turned and walked towards the female warrior's dormitory next to her. Zhu Fangfang, Su Yan, and others did not stop. Seeing Li Fengjiao and others leaving neatly, Lu Yuer quickly pulled her sisters to follow. At the door of the female warrior's dormitory, Wang Ziwen leaning against the wall, he nodded to Li Fengjiao and others who had returned, and Li Fengjiao responded. When passing by, he asked, how is the injury? Wang Ziwen was stunned for a moment, and responded with some flattery, I'm done now. I feel like I'm recovering well. I should be able to go out to fight tomorrow. I killed a few zombies through the fence today. I feel very good. Tang Dao's good results. Li Fengjiao nodded and led the team into the dormitory building. Come up too, I have something to say to you. Wang Ziwen was stunned, but did not refuse. She followed him upstairs. In the corridor on the 8th floor, Li Fengjiao looked at the girl sitting in front of her and asked, Fang Fang, have you finished the statistics? How many people are there this time? Including Wang Ziwen, there are a total of 141 new female fighters. 141 people? Li Fengjiao was surprised. At first glance, she saw a lot of people, but the number 141 people still shocked her. She didn't expect so many women to dare to fight zombies. Although she didn't know how many people would die in the process. Yu Shikao, but with such a large base, there will definitely not be many female warriors who can grow up. Suppressing the surprise in her heart, Li Fengjiao looked down at the many women in front of her with a serious look. I don't care if you choose female warriors, what is the purpose, but you must remember one thing clearly for me, that is absolute loyalty to the Lord. The Lord gives us new life and a better life. The Lord is unimaginably powerful. He is like a God walking in the world. The knife in our hands is a divine weapon given by the Lord. It houses the divine power of the Lord. Can make us stronger. Everything I have now is given by the Lord. Li Fengjiao spoke passionately, and her words were full of praise for Lin Fan. She was like a devout fanatic, spreading the greatness of Lin Fan, constantly brainwashing her with words, and portraying a great blueprint for the women in front of her. One pie after another was drawn. The women were originally in awe of Lin Fan's strength, but now under Li Fengjiao's beautiful portrayal, the awe in their hearts is even deeper, especially the artifact given to them that can make them stronger, which stimulates the women even more. Faith. Women are all emotional. After experiencing hellish despair, they suddenly come to heaven. The kind of light and hope makes it easier for them to surrender. I could have endured the darkness if I had never seen the light. Living in hell, longing for the light, as long as you give them some hope, they will go crazy. Only when they see the light do they know the beauty of the light, so they are even more afraid of falling into the abyss. If Lin Fan were here and saw this scene, he would definitely be very happy, because his desired goal has been achieved. The first batch of female warriors respected him as a god. No, they already regarded him as a god. After the new female warriors arrived, they spontaneously promoted his greatness and omnipotence. This is fatal. If things go on like this, no matter how many female warriors are added in the future, they will be assimilated. After all, people are social creatures, and 3 people become a tiger. If more people say it, under the influence of it, even if they don't a Euro trademark T believe it or believe it, they will be assimilated. Will be assimilated. Those who are close to vermilion are red, those who are close to ink are black. This is the case, especially religious beliefs, the exaggeration is even greater. Stronger. Not to mention that in this doomsday situation, when there is no hope, even a fire will be regarded as a bright hope by everyone. After dinner, when Lin Fan was thinking about what to do in the evening, Lin Yuyu snuggled up to him. My lord, are you satisfied with the craftsmanship of the 3 of them? Not bad, pretty good. That's fine, I'm afraid what they cook is not to your taste. After nuzzling in Lin Fan's arms, Lin Yuyu raised her head and kissed Lin Fan on the chin, and said softly, my lord, you brought back so many women today. It won't be long before the food in the hospital is not enough. Speaking of the problem of food, Lin Fan was slightly startled. This was the first time since the end of the world that he had heard that there was not enough food. This was true, too. Before, there were only a few dozen people at full capacity, but now it has increased to more than 10 times. Based on the number of people in the hospital cafeteria, if you save food and add it to the supermarket, a Euro trademark, I'm afraid you want a Euro trademark T be able to eat it for long. Well, how long will it last? Lin Yuyu calculated in her mind, if there is no limited supply, it will take about more than half a month. Lin Fan did not treat any woman badly, even the maid, let her have enough to eat. Of course, if she works hard, this kind of thing is supervised. The maids supervise each other. Once they are found to be lazy, they will sit together. In this case, no one dares to be lazy. Lin Fan is not so evil-hearted after doing heavy work and not giving him enough to eat. When I go out tomorrow, I will focus on bringing back some food, so there is no need to worry about food. He patted Lin Yuyu on the shoulder. Having such a housekeeper at home saved him a lot of things. If he was asked to take care of this, his head would probably split. Lin Fan felt that he should reflect on it and go out normally. He kept killing zombies or rescuing women. Instead, he forgot to go to various shops in the mall and used up so much of his personal space. Yo-yo, is there anything you want? I can bring you cosmetics, clothes, bags, etc. tomorrow. Lin Fan is still a bit cautious. Lin Yu is obedient to him. It can be said that all the women in the family are like this. He doesn't seem to care about whether they have any needs. This is really inappropriate. If Lin Fan it's okay that Yu is quarreling with him, which annoys him, and he doesn't feel that he has treated them badly, but Lin Yu doesn't ask for anything, so he feels embarrassed. Isn't this bullying an honest person? Lin Fan is just eating. If you make trouble with him, I'm sorry, I'll let you take care of him every minute, but if he doesn't make trouble, he will be a little embarrassed. Hearing this, Lin Yu thought for a while, and even waved to call Zhao Wanqing over. Brainstorming ideas. Lin Fan watched from the side, and the more he listened, the stranger he became. Silk, my lord likes it very much. Let's get some uniforms. I think the lord would like them too. Let's go shopping at the adult counter again. I can try on a lot of clothes. Perfume, cosmetics, etc. Your lord, you should bring more clothes of your own. Oh, by the way, those maids are human beings, so bring some for them too. Today, some maids went to work wearing clothes that were not yet dry, and the clothes were dried by body heat. Listening to what Zhao Wanqing and the others said to each other, Lin Fan was a little confused. What are these women talking about? But it is true that he brought some clothes back to those maids. He went to work in the fields with unused clothes, and still it's really inhumane to use your body temperature to dry. Forget it, let's not go find the survivors tomorrow. Let's just move all the stuff from the nearby grain and oil stores and shopping malls back. This will save you a lot of effort and you can do it all at once. Lin Yu they finally wrote a large piece of paper, which was densely packed with things to bring. Lin Fan took a look at it. As an experienced driver, he had a look on his face. What were these women writing? It was so exciting. Put it away. For paper, Zhao Wanqing was not in a hurry to leave, put down her mobile phone and got into Lin Fan's arms, suggesting, my lord, when it comes to these clothes, perfumes, and skincare products, I think we need to establish a system instead of like now lead a Euro trademark give those maids some motivation. How to say? After straightening her hanging hair, Zhao Wanqing said these cosmetics and the like, you can a Euro trademark give it to those maids for free, do you want it? Then use money in exchange. This money is our own special currency system, or reward system. What you do, what rewards you get, and then use this to buy food, cosmetics, etc. Women love to compare. Even with these as motivation, they will work hard without any supervision. Our power cannot only be farming. In the future, there will be various jobs, and then a complete social system will be established. Currency is essential. Lin Fan found these things very interesting, but when he thought about it carefully, he felt a headache. Why would he be harmed by something like this? Isn't it good for him to be a mascot? Why should he talk to him about such profound questions? It was agreed that he would be the master of the house, and the women would be the master of the house. Looking at Lin Fan's face that was almost wrinkled, Lin Yu raised his hands and rubbed them, comforting, sir, we are just mentioning it to you, what do you think? Okay, we will find a way to implement it ourselves. Good lord, don't a Euro trademark frown. Yu is feeling distressed, and so are you, Wanqing. Why are you talking in so many details? Zhao Wanqing rolled her eyes, but she felt a little distressed when she saw Lin Fan looking uncomfortable. It's my fault, it's my fault. I'll do it as soon as the Lord agrees. You don't need to worry about it. Putting his arms around the waists of the two women, Lin Fan decisively acted like a salted fish. It was obvious that he didn't have to worry about it, so why bother? I agree. The monetary system is imperative. I will be responsible for bringing the goods and you will be responsible for issuing them. It is such a happy decision.